Welcome to the Mossel Bay Municipality Multimedia Studio for this podcast. We are speaking today to Susan Hiban, Senior Town Planner, and Samela Mbunge, Assistant Town Planner, about the Louis Fourie Corridor Project. Welcome, ladies. Susan, can you please tell us what the Louis Fourie Corridor Project is all about and why it is so important for Mossel Bay?
The Louis Fourie Corridor Project is a strategic initiative by Mossel Bay Municipality. It will be an integrated mixed-use development. It's situated between Heiderrand, Pinnacle Point, Paradise Coast and Kwanongaba. It is designed to transform a large, predominantly vacant area spanning approximately 475 hectares into a vibrant urban corridor that integrates residential, commercial and community spaces. This project is significant because it leverages this only remaining sizable undeveloped land in the town's core to stimulate economic growth, enhance the local infrastructure and addressing our housing and community needs.
Could you perhaps elaborate on how the project came about?
There was a growth option study done. It was identified the best place for Mossel Bay to expand is on this property. After that, there was a market study that was also done, and an undersupply of middle-income properties were identified. So this is the last open land, as I've mentioned, owned by the municipality. And we developed a corridor area plan, and this was accepted by council. And now we are in the process of obtaining these permissions to develop this area.
Samela, could you perhaps tell us what is the process that must be followed to obtain approval for a development like this?
So there are 5 pieces of legislation that have to be followed in the development process. The processes that are applicable for this project is firstly the environmental application process, secondly the planning application process, then it's the heritage applications, then you have water licenses and flora removal permits.
What does the Louis Fourie Corridor Project development actually consist of?
There's approximately 7,400 housing opportunities, and these housing opportunities range from low income to middle income, then your high income. And there's various housing typologies that will be available. You have apartments, detached houses, rental options, ownership options as well, retirement villages. And there are also commercial opportunities of approximately 100,000 squares of floor space. We have social facilities as well, 2 high schools, 2 primary schools, 6 churches, 6 creches, there's hospitals, medical facilities, municipal offices, fire stations. So there's a lot of social facilities that will be on the premises, as well as open spaces. A very large portion of the development area is open space. There's a large conservation area, very large community park, sports facilities as well, and then municipal infrastructure, your roads, stormwater, power, sewage networks, yes.
That's very interesting. Is there perhaps a layout where all the mentioned areas of development can be seen? And can you explain how the layout plan contributes to the overall vision of this project?
Yes, there is a layout plan, and it essentially serves as the blueprint of the entire development. It helps us understand the spatial arrangement of the different uses, where the residential area is going to be, where the commercial zones are going to be, how the road network is going to lie. So by visually demonstrating how these elements connect and interact, the plan ensures the development is coherent and it's accessible. And it also outlines phasing options for the gradual implementation, which allows for flexibility of the project as it evolves and as the market changes. And yeah.
What do you look for throughout the application process? Because this is such a major development that could have an impact on the greater Mossel Bay.
There's several specialist studies that was conducted. This is necessary because we also need independent specialists to evaluate the different impacts. So there was a site specialist with the physical terrain, looking at your floodplains to ensure that there is no risk involved where you do develop in close proximity to floodplains. The geology was tested, test pits were drilled to make sure that when people do build there, the amount of construction can be carried by the land. There was environmental specialist appointed who looked at the fauna and flora, different bird species, different reptiles or mammals, and also the different veld types and which areas have protected species in terms of your veld types, but also habitat. And then socioeconomic aspects were looked at, the community needs, your employment opportunities that's required, and how many social facilities is necessary to accommodate this population that will be in this area. And then, of course, the municipal infrastructure, your bulk roads, stormwater, sewage, and water to make sure that this area can also be serviced.
That's very interesting. Were there any interesting findings from the studies that were done?
Yes, there were several impacts from environmental and from the infrastructure perspective that necessitated amendments to the initial layout plan. Several areas were identified where development could not take place due to the environmental sensitivity, and these areas were taken as an opportunity to make sure that we enhance the open space network, and this not only has ecological benefits but also your tourism opportunities that's being created by this. There's 42% of the layout that will be conservation areas. And then the infrastructure impact was interesting because we had to scale down the development because of the limitations on the road network. The proposed network that is now in place will bring a lot of relief, not in terms of current traffic congestion, but also your future traffic congestion problems on Louis Fourie Road as well as Flora Road.
The Louis Fourie Corridor Project sounds like a very big, impactful development. But where will the people who will live here actually come from?
So Mossel Bay has a 5% population growth rate per year, and that translates to 18 people moving to Mossel Bay per day. So this development is to accommodate our population growth rate as well as people who are on our housing waiting list. We have 10,000 families who are on our housing waiting list. Therefore, there's a very high demand for housing, employment opportunities, and social facilities in Mossel Bay. And this development seeks to meet those needs.
Could you perhaps tell us the anticipated socio-economic benefits of the Louis Fourie Corridor Project?
The project is expected to have a wide-ranging socio-economic benefits. It will provide new housing opportunities, stimulate local business through commercial zones, and create public spaces that foster community engagement. By transforming this large underutilized area into a mixed-use urban center, the project is poised to attract investment and generate employment. Moreover, its phased development approach will allow for the gradual economic upliftment, aligning the municipality's broader goals of urban regeneration and improved quality of life for the residents.
Could you elaborate on how the public participation process works and how people can actually get involved in this process?
The public participation is being done in 3 phases. The first phase was in November 2024. We are currently busy with the second phase, which includes the land use application, the environmental scoping application, as well as the water use license and the heritage impact. So notices have been sent out to adjacent owners. It was placed in the newspaper and there was a notice placed on site on the 28th of March. And then we are intending on holding public meetings from the 7th to the 10th of April 2025. These meetings will be in Danabai Community Hall on the 7th of April 2025 at 6 o'clock, the Asla Community Hall on the 8th of April 2025 at 6 o'clock, Kwanongaba Community Hall on the 9th of April 2025 at 6 o'clock, at the Mossel Bay Town Hall on the 10th of April, also at 6 o'clock, and this will be the last one that is on the 10th. And we really encourage the public to attend these meetings. And if there are any written comments, you're welcome to contact us at admin@mosselbay.gov.za, as well as at ppp@nccgroup.co.za. There will also be another opportunity for the public participation as a third phase of the environmental impact application. And these applications will be digitally available on the NCC Group website as well as on the Mossel Bay website.
What is the duration of the public participation period?
Usually it's a 30-day legislated process in terms of the environmental and planning applications, but because of the magnitude of this project and wanting to accommodate the public to provide them as much commenting time as possible, we've extended it to 60 days. So the commenting period is from the 28th of March 2025 to 27 May 2025.
Could you perhaps tell us why public participation is so important?
Public participation in town planning applications and in the environmental impact assessments is crucial because it ensures that projects are sustainable, that they're transparent and accountable by incorporating local knowledge, facilitating better decision making and fostering community ownership. And public participation can provide a platform for dialogue, for negotiation, helping resolve conflicts and hopefully finding mutual acceptable solutions.
Very interesting. What are the next steps for this project and how do you see it evolving in the coming years?
The next steps involve the finalization of the land use application. We're going through this public participation phase, and if we receive any comments, the necessary adjustments will be made. And then after the finalization of that application and we can secure all the permits, including in the environmental and heritage authorizations, we will go forward with having a detailed plan in place. So the project is set to move into its implementation phase where we can start with construction, and there will be ongoing consultations in this phase development to make sure that the upgrades and the urban services are delivered in tandem with the construction. So ultimately, this project is envisioned to serve as a catalyst for this area, and hopefully we can also use it as a benchmark for other areas of integrated mixed-use development in the region. It will play out in the next 10 to 20 years. As I've mentioned, it's a phased approach and a long-term big project.
Thank you very much, Susan and Samela, for coming in today and telling us about this exciting new project for Mossel Bay.